Hello and welcome along to episode 19 of the Perth Paisley Podcast, a podcast dedicated to Heart Midlothian Football Club. The Jambos made it 3 from 3 in their championship campaign so far, with a recent victory over Inverness Caledonian Thistle at Tynecastle. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Kennedy, and joining me to discuss the most recent fixture, as always, is Mr. Daniel McIver. How are we doing, Daniel?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Got a little bit to discuss with, obviously, the Cali clash. We'll briefly preview the East Fife game in midweek, and we'll touch on the new BBC documentary surrounding the Jam Tarts. However, I'm delighted to welcome another special guest, Perth to Paisley's second in as many weeks, and a young man who I've got a lot of time for. We used to grace the grill at McDonald's straightened together, but we're not here to discuss flipping burgers. We're here to welcome Jordan Allan, whose fantastic film work you may have seen grace the Jam Tarts social channels. Jordan, how are we doing, mate? You must be living the dream.
Mate, yeah, it's been class so far. How you been yourself? You alright?
Yeah, not too bad, mate.
I'm kind of missing them at these days a bit, to be honest.
Oh. I feel fucking left out. Just sat here, just being like, cool.
Mate, by the way, Adam Kennedy on Meat Batch. What a guy.
Unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. But we are, of course, going to talk about your career now. Thankfully, you're not having to, watch me flip burgers.
Have we all, wait now, we've all worked in McDonald's.
Have you worked at McDonald's as well?
Yeah.
I was just about to say, because you were through in Stirling, eh?
Yeah.
Oh,
what a connection.
That's unbelievable.
These family.
What was your best times?
Bev was quality. Bev sale was the best.
Aye. I was a kitchen man myself.
Oh, nah, fuck that.
Yeah, this is fantastic. There's me trying to keep it serious and talk about Jordan's film. And we've already...
To be honest, the highlight of my career is McDonald's.
And of course. I guess the first question that I was going to ask you is perhaps the most obvious. What is it like watching Hearts in an empty stadium these days, whether it be obviously Tiny, Hampden or elsewhere? What's it like?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's not very good in terms of the film content as well, because when there's fans there and you don't really know what to film, you can always just point it at the fans, and there's always things happening amongst there. But it's weird. It kind of feels like every game's like a friendly, or like it's just everything's behind closed doors kind of. So it doesn't feel like it's actually for like it doesn't feel like it's actually like a championship game we're playing, or especially the semi final was really really weird.
Yeah,
such a massive game and there's nobody there. Like,
I was going to ask you about that because you just said about capturing content with the fans. Is it somewhat bittersweet at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be great when it's all back next year, because there'll be so much more we can film, and there'll be so much more like to get involved with. But yeah, it's great. It was amazing being obviously at the semi final and filming us beat Hibs, but. Like, yeah, it would have been unreal to hear the noise from when the goals went in and stuff. It's kind of gutting in that sense.
I was going to say that must be kind of the weirdest thing, because you'd said to me previously that you can't really celebrate straight away when we score.
Yeah.
Do you not even get the temptation to let out a wee kind of yes, even though it's or whatever? I
mean, I've been trying to set up a little like microphone somewhere else, like not near me, so that when we do score, I can give a little cheer. It's been so weird, mate. Like, I've been going back into the car after the game, especially after the semi-final, going back into the game and they're just letting it all out, just going, yes, come on! Like, having to hold it in. I mean, I would. It's just in terms of like audio and the camera shaking that I can't do it. But no, it's funny.
So how did your film work come about initially? Because we've known each other a while, and I knew that you'd worked at Edinburgh City. I saw you there on my work experience and when I'd interviewed Jim Jeffries. But when did that kind of all begin?
I mean, it was kind of with like I came through Edinburgh College doing like kind of all the drama and documentary kind of filming and stuff, and then I didn't really enjoy doing that after college, so I kind of just wanted to start something new. So I kind of just started by contacting a bunch of like Edinburgh-based like sports teams and stuff, and Edinburgh City were the first to get back. I think they were quite happy because they were paying for Youth Football Scotland to film their games, and then I came along and they had a free video guy. So I volunteered there for a wee bit, and then through that got my full-time job, which is Youth Football Scotland, and then on to kind of swap Edinburgh City for Hearts on the weekends now, so it's like a part-time kind of thing.
Well, I was going to ask you, is that you now a two-team wanker like we Aaron that we had on last week?
I am, yeah. Well, at least it's the two big teams in Edinburgh.
I think technically I am as well, because I just live beside Ainsley Park.
Oh, what a fortress.
Exactly.
Is it just sport that you do now then, mate?
Yeah, pretty much, to be honest. Like, if anybody came up and was asking for something that wasn't in sport, then I wouldn't obviously say no to it. But it's mostly the sports stuff, yeah, like mostly football now, which is pretty good.
And I don't know whether we can discuss this, but I'm just going to ask: do you get like a wee pie or a programme or that, or like any royalties from the club, or what's the script?
So yeah, well, the first few weeks I was there, we didn't, but Robert Doyle, who's the other guy that works there, who he's been, I think he's full time there. He does a lot of like the graphic stuff and a lot of the video stuff there. He's class. Yeah, he's been trying to sort us out with stuff at halftime. So I got myself a wee steak pie and a wee chicken wrap and a Rocky Road at halftime. Spot on.
Beautiful stuff.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Because I look around other clubs and I've always thought that kind of Motherwell's media stuff is top drawer. Is that something that you'd spoken to Hearts about, that you wanted to kind of emulate that, or what did they say to you sort of on the back of your appointment?
I've seen the Motherwell stuff before, but it wasn't really, to be honest, it wasn't really my idea. It was kind of stuff that I like doing. I did some like student football stuff before with Youth Football Scotland, where we did the kind of highlights videos.
Right.
But I think Robert Doyle, who I mentioned, who's been there for a wee bit, was trying to do some of them last season, and they just kind of thought they need an extra camera for these games, like having two angles on everything is obviously makes things look a lot better. So we're kind of, sitting in different stands every game, getting footage from each angle, and then taking turns of the edit. So yeah, I think it was more Rob's idea and the club's, but yeah, I just kind of came along to give a helping hand. But yeah. Have
you built up any relationships with players of that yet? Like, do they look out for you?
I wish, man. I've not been able to get like pitch side of that just now. So like, obviously I did a couple of games before lockdown, and I was allowed to be in and out the tunnel and round the pitch and that. But right now, just because of coronavirus, I'm only allowed in the stand. So I've not really, apart from a couple nods at players. That's about. I've always been really bad at introducing myself to folk as well. But yeah, apart from a couple nods to a few players, like there's nothing there yet. I've got a couple of follows on Instagram. I wanted to
ask you that. That's what I wanted to ask you, because I was. I'll lead into documentary stuff later, but I was pitch side for the last 10 home games, and there was one point where I've only met Rob twice or something like that. I don't really know him that well, but Rob was walking past me and Uche was coming the other way, and he high-fived Rob, and he clearly thought I was with Rob, so just high-fived me as well, and we just kept walking.
Oh, yes, that's the thing. Like, he's been there a wee while, so he'll know a lot of the players quite well. It's class. I kind of hope that happens to me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's magic, mate, because you've certainly come a long way since Straighton, so that's top drawer. I'm chuffed for you. Well done, mate.
No, cheers. What was I going to say? Yeah, no, I've with like coming into the stand as well, there's always like Gary Locke's always standing there, and sometimes like Jim Jeffries and that, and I always say hi to Gary Locke, and he always says, "How you doing, mate?" And I still don't think he knows my name. Like, I never introduced myself. That's the thing. I'm so bad for it. I'm never like, "Oh, hi Gary, I'm Jordan." It's more just like, "All right, mate, how's it going?"
I think I'm the same as well. The amount of folk I've passed in the wee office and that, it's just like, all right, and it's like I've met them 9 times in the decade here I am.
So apart from a couple Instagram follows, I'm not really there yet.
Take that, though.
I'll take that now. Aye. The Pilton Pirlo follows me, so Portobello Pirlo, sorry.
Yeah, I was
no way.
Aye.
Oh, you need to send him my way. What a boy. So, let's discuss the Inverness game. Hearts, of course, got the better of Cali Thistle on Saturday afternoon at Tynecastle by 2-1. Before we discuss the game itself, I wanted to kind of touch on the manager's pre-match press conference. Robbie Neilson said in his pre-match presser that the main objective of the season has always been to win the league. I'll come to you first, Daniel. Is this just one of those games that we had to win by any means necessary, or are you left sort of slightly bemused by the scoreline, the fact that we've only won by the one goal and sort of had to hang on at the end?
Nah, I'm very much fine with how it worked. Like, we won against the team that is in the the upper half of who will be competitive this season. Inverness, before the start of the season, you'd think would be either second or third. Obviously, the season's not really panned out that way so far, but over the 27 game stretch, you imagine they'll be up there. And we've now played them twice, obviously in the Betfred and in the Championship. Obviously, both those performances kind of left a lot to be desired. However, we've come out of them with a total of 6 points out of 6. I get the point where it was like hanging on at the end a bit, but I feel like the scoreline was a bit generous to Inverness. I know we weren't brilliant and they weren't terrible or anything like that, but I feel like 2-1 was a bit comforting to them and didn't really tell the full story of the game.
I think they created very little, didn't they?
Yeah.
Robbie placed a real importance on the Inverness game, Jordan, and Brian McLaughlin mentioned that Dunfermline were churning out wins, Wraith, whoever. Robbie said that we just have to keep winning and kind of pull 7 or 8 wins clear. That's obviously now 3, like Daniel says. Do you think that's as tricky a test as we'll face in this league?
I mean, yeah, I think until we play Dunfermline, I don't really know what we can think about that, because Dunfermline are looking pretty strong as well. But see, like teams like Inverness, I would never really expect us to, be like, smashing Inverness and Dunfermline. I think we should be beating them every time. But yeah, you take the 2-1s like that, even if it is a bit shaky at the end. You take them every day.
Because I was going to ask the period, obviously, before we get into kind of the action. The gaffer also spoke about the winning mentality that he's trying to instill. Do both of you kind of think that this is a game that we'd have thrown away under either of his predecessors last season?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, yeah. Because even at 2-1, they're kind of still in the game, aren't they? Even despite creating very little.
Mm-hmm. I think the main point was in the second half when we got our second. There was never honestly, even when we conceded, but particularly after we got our second, I just went, right, that's it, we've won this game. I haven't felt like that for about 18 and a half months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. There's a lot of confidence around Robbie Nielsen being there.
And he was obviously delighted with Peter Haring's progress kind of pre-match in the build-up. Obviously, he started the match at the base of the midfield diamond. How pleasing was that to see him given the nod for once, rather than the cameos that we've been used to kind of seeing him off the bench?
I think it was really important for him in terms of his confidence, just in terms of being able to say he's been able to start and get through a game. Now, I missed the first 25 minutes because I was getting tattooed, but apparently he wasn't that good. Apparently had quite a lot of lax passes and stuff like that. But from when I saw him, maybe just the first 20 minutes, he was getting his feet together. But I actually thought he was his usual self.
Do you think that that's a kind of system that we'll rock, the midfield diamond with Lee and Halliday either side and Naismith at the top? Because obviously the no width did slightly concern me, but I thought that Liam Boyce and Craig Whiting up top was somewhat appealing. Would you not say, either of you?
I'll let Jordan take it.
Yeah, no, I was kind of hoping to see Boyce and Whiting up top together at some point, but I mean, with Ginnelly and Roberts being out, I guess he didn't really have much option in terms of not playing wide. So yeah, I think it was really good to see Whiting and Boyce up there.
And also, Ollie Lee just becomes a different human being when Peter Haring is playing with him. It's so weird. Like, I think I said this last week with Aaron as well. Like, Ollie Lee is, you kind of know what you're going to get. He's technically a very good football player, but oftentimes the criticism of him is that he passes back a lot, he doesn't track runs, he doesn't really do his bit defensively and stuff like that. But when Peter Haring's there, it's like he knows he doesn't need to do any of that stuff, so just has the confidence to go forward. And you saw it in the semi-final last week when Haring came on. It allowed Lee to push forward and get that assist, obviously, and then again on Saturday Lee got the assist for Boyce's goal because it just allowed him to push forward, and he just seems so much happier when Haring's alongside him.
I was about to say, I think that comes from kind of a defensive stability standpoint, doesn't it? Because even you touched on it on the pod last week. Halkett or I think Smith feels much better having Craig Gordon behind him as opposed to a Pereira, a Doyle, or a Zlamal. It's bound to be the same for Ollie Lee, but I thought it was a pretty sluggish opening, if I'm honest. But Liam Boyce, we'll get into him because he did have the first opportunity. Some tidy build-up involving just about the entire midfield before Andy Halliday slid through Stephen Kingsley, and he looked to centre for Liam Boyce, but it was obviously just behind him. He really ought to have nodded Hearts in front from the resulting free kick, would you not say, though, Jordan?
To be honest, mate, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to film it all. I can't even really remember, to be honest. I'm too busy with my eye in the viewfinder.
I can't remember who heads it back across goal, and then Boyce is literally, it must be less than 6 yards out, and I think he just nods it over.
Yeah, there's been a couple of moments lately where I've thought, obviously Boyce should have done better. There's a couple of opportunities in the semi-final as well. I don't know what that's down to, but it would have been nice for him to finally get that goal from open play as well, and especially the kind of back heel flick that he did.
What was I was going to say, what were folk saying after his miss at Hampden? Were folk just screeching, or what happened?
I mean, I was in the stand. There was nobody really surrounding me, but yeah, it's the kind of one you're like I think you said on the podcast as well. You just expect Liam Boyce to bury every opportunity like that, but yeah, it wasn't one of his finest moments.
I think there's an element as well. Sorry, just before we move on, I think there is an element which I saw someone say on Twitter. We do have to remember Boyce didn't play any Betfred games because he was away. That allowed Whiten to get those 3 games, and Whiten obviously has been the talisman of this season so far. But Boyce is still playing incredibly well, still getting into amazing positions, and he's kind of 3 games behind Whiten. So I think it is actually a positive. Yes, he's missed chances that you would just assume without even looking that Boyce is going to score. Even the one in our Broth just before Whiten got his, you just look at that and go, that's a Liam Boyce-esque chance. But the positive for me is that he's still getting into those positions, and then the goals will come, and then obviously in the second half the goal did come.
It did. I thought it 0-0. I actually took a leaf out of your book, Daniel, because I had a pound on Michael Smith first goal, and he slid one kind of just wide before the half. Could have easily had us in front. Listen, I love when the fullbacks are roaming forward the way that they do, and it seemed as though in that first half everything was coming through the pair of them. Would you say that that's a fair summary, Daniel?
Definitely. We've got our own wee Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, don't we? It's quality.
Do you actually put a pound or a couple pounds on Michael Smith to score first every week?
Every week, yep. And I did it. I put a fiver on the Dundee game, and I got 150 quid.
That's ridiculous.
Loving life.
Well,
absolutely.
So wait, but now actually, you put a pound on for the first time and he didn't score. So you ruined it.
No. This wasn't the first time.
It's the first time since he's been scoring.
No, because I stuck him on at Arbroath as well.
Oh, for fuck's sake. And he didn't then either. Go, you stop doing it and just let me do it.
Listen,
Adam, just stay off it for tomorrow night. Didn't he do it?
Could have. Well, of course, he won't be in contention, so I can't see me back in Jamie Brandon right enough, but never mind.
Shocking.
But no, back to Saturday, I mean, it was a pretty drab first half, and that was obviously emphasised by how quickly we broke the deadlock in that second half. Some tidy work from Ollie Lee, Peter Hanning, and obviously the aforementioned Boyce. Saw it spread wide to Kingsley, who crossed for Naismith to volley home. Now, Jordan, Daniel and I praised his introduction against Hibs. Do you think this is exactly what Stephen Naismith needed in order to emphasise to Robbie that he's still got a huge part to play? Not just as captain, but as a potential kind of starting striker or 10 in the absence of Walker?
No, again, I feel like Naismith's too good a player to ever kind of drop out of that squad. I know he's not been playing the best, but this performance against Hibs I thought was pretty decent. It was one of his better ones for a while, and then that goal will definitely set his confidence up as well. Don't know what it was that he was lacking anyway, but he'll be delighted with that. So I really hope that he kind of kicks on and gets himself into that starting team most weeks, because I love watching him play when he's at his best, and he just screams at everyone as well. It's class.
He does. It's like having a manager on the pitch. Like
Yeah.
it's mental.
It is, and to be honest, I don't think there was a great deal going on before we grabbed our second. The Craig Halkett free kick is aimed long to Liam Boyce, and then it's a lovely kind of neat passing exchange, which obviously sees your follower, the Portobello Pirlo, involved, Jordan, but he threads through to Ollie Lee and obviously cuts it back, and we've touched on the finish from Liam Boyce. Where do we think that ranks in our goal of the season competition so far? Because as much as we've scored a couple of belters, that's up there for me, boys.
That's probably the most like technically best finish we've had, because actually in the Jordan Allan film that was placed on Twitter today, the finish is actually like better than I thought it was. Your shot where you've slowed it down, it just properly shows that he meant it, because there was debate about whether he meant to do it. He definitely did, and he kind of just, it's not that he flicks it, it's that he almost kicks it into the ground so that it bounces over Ridger's arm. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it was actually Rob's turn to edit, so he was the one behind the edit for that.
Well,
but,
you just take credit for it. You just take credit. It's fine.
Why did you say that?
Oh mate, but I like watching it back myself in slow-mo. I have no idea how he's done what he's done. It's like I watched it like 3 or 4 times and just could not work out how he's managed to put that in the back of the net. It's like pinched between his like foot and the ground, and it's just flicked in. I have no idea what he's done. It's class though.
We've obviously touched on his misses, but I mean, there's no arguing if he bags in that fashion, is there? Really?
No, I loved Mark Ridger's desperate attempt to dive for it as it crossed the line as well. It was top notch.
I think it does just show how good a player he truly is. Like, some people have been like, he's no good enough, we need to just completely drop him and put Whiting up front. I've been a massive fan of both of them, because as me and you, Adam, spoke about the week before the Hibs game, where we got into that debate who you'd start, they offer totally different things. But Boyce's overall play, he's just so intelligent, and then a finish like that just shows he's just a cut above the rest of this, especially even this division. I was about to say that game, but just this division, he should be top goal scorer in it.
Yeah, and I think he always contributes in a game. My kind of point last week was it's amazing as soon as strikers pull on this maroon shirt, because it seems like their goal scoring knack of yesteryears just completely fades away. And I think now I'd just be delighted to see him go on a good run. But then obviously the game gets crazier, the year gets crazier, because Eddie White obviously thunders one off the crossbar. And at this point, I'm beginning to wonder just how 2020 can get any crazier.
He proper took it on as well. He did it deliberately. It wasn't like he fell and sclaffed it and it hit the bar. He controlled it with his chest, brought it down under his foot, beat a man, turned, swiveled his hips and hit the bar. He's a new human being.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because he's really proven the pair of us wrong. Not quite to the extent of Craig Whiting, but what a few games he's had in succession, would you not say, Jordan?
Yeah, well, even like listening to you before, I never thought he was doing at all that bad. I always thought he was alright, and then like when he came on in the derby, I thought he was really, really good. Proper changed the game, and obviously won that penalty as well. And then when he came on the other day, I wasn't thinking like, oh no, here we go. I was like, oh, Eddie White's on.
I never want to see him defend again, ever. I never want to see him play left back.
No, I think he's been really, 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 really good recently. So no, I hope he kicks on.
Is the goal that we concede you pairs only sort of bugbear within the game? Because it seemed to me as though we were just really dominant, and it's just, I don't know whether it's kind of a lapse of concentration or complacency setting in. What do you like? The goal's a good goal, but that's pretty much our only negative throughout the entire match. Maybe having not grabbed a couple more goals.
I was going to say, I don't think it is either a lapse of concentration or complacency. I just think it's a really good goal. I think it's a really good cross in. The header's fantastic. Gordon doesn't have a chance. Popescu maybe can do a bit better. Popescu, by the way, scares the shit out of me, and I love him. Like I'm like, I don't know what he's gonna do when he gets the ball.
I was gonna ask for your clarification on that because I did see you tweet that out, and I was thinking, how can you love a bomb scare like that?
He's quality. He's Ozturk 2.0. Like, I'm so excited by him, but at the same time, I didn't want to see him touch the ball. Like, he just seems to be Raj. Like, he gets the ball and just either will play a 40-yarder or just go, I'm going to run 40 yards forwards. And
watching him stride forward is the best thing. I love it.
It's quality. I love it. And it's such a thing that our centre-halves do recently. Suter used to do it but would always fail at it. Halkett's pretty good at it as well. And now Popescu's good at it, but when he's not good at it, he's absolutely atrocious and we nearly concede from every time. You have to love that. Like, that just excites you.
Do you think they all kind of seem to fall into that kind of same category, though, with kind of ball-playing defenders, though? Would you not? I mean, that's part of their nature, is it not?
That's true. That is very true. I just don't know if Popescu's good enough to do it on a consistent basis, but I love that he tries.
Would you rather him or Christoph Berra?
Well, this was the one point I have kind of noticed in recent games. I'd rather Popescu and Halkett, but I feel like we can't win as much in the air now, and Berra would just fix that. But I think that's one strength which would add in a lot of weakness, because I think Popescu's no the fastest, but he's faster than Berra. But I have just noticed that we're not winning as much in the air anymore.
No, I guess not. I mean, the ball playing aspect, it would be. I mean, it just brings back bad memories of kind of Levine's tenure with Berra just hooflessly aiming up the park, or aimlessly hoofing up the park rather. It just, no. But anyway, obviously
I'd quite like to see Berra come back in at some point just to see what he looks like. Nowadays, I've not seen him in a while.
Jordan, because with no game at the weekend, our only competitive fixture this week sees Hearts and obviously yourself travel over the bridge to take on East Fife at New Bayview. Do you think this is a game for Berra? Because the manager has spoken in the press saying that he's after another victory, but I was assuming that we'll just play the kids. Or can you see us calling in a few senior pros like Berra or a similar team to kind of the Wraith game?
Yeah, I think we'll play quite a strong team again. I think Berra's probably either going to come on or he's going to start, but I think that'll be quite interesting to see, considering we've not seen him play for quite a while. So I think it'll be a relatively strong starting 11, maybe a couple of youngsters in again, like McGill maybe, or cause he seemed to do alright when we played Cowdenbeath, even though we didn't do that well over there. But yeah,
I'd like to see us start a back three.
Would you?
Because we
don't know if we do that though.
I know.
Similar to the Wraith game, because I think what was the back three that night? Was it not Kingsley, Haring, and Brandon? Oh. Where did Jamie Brandon play?
He was like right wing back, so it could it was a 3 that transitioned into a 5, with Kingsley tucking in,
and White was on the left, wasn't he?
Yeah. I'd just like to see a 3, because it would be interesting. Like, don't have Berra on one of the sides because that's suicidal, but have Popescu left hand side, Halkett right hand side, Berra in the middle, because we don't have Smith, so have like Freer at right mid, and then have Kingsley at left mid / left wing back. Have a middle 3 of like McGill, I don't want to risk Herring on that pitch, so like Halliday or Lee, and then a 10 of Walker. Everybody's knees are bust, and I don't want any of them playing on that fucking pitch, because we don't have Boyce. Walker's hurt, maybe. Roberts and Janelli aren't fit. Because you have Whiten obviously, but then I don't know who you play alongside him, because I don't want Naismith playing.
What would be your team? Could you give us a team?
Right. Scrap the 3.
I mean, it's not like it matters because we're through. So now is the time for kind of experimentation. Would you not say?
True, but if we win, we get seeded.
No, that's true. That's true.
But no, I do get your point though. If we're ever going to play kids, this is the best time. Right, I'm going with a 4. I'll go Gordon. No, he's away. I'll go Stewart. Brandon. It's so weird having players who are actually away on international duty. Just please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. So Stewart in goals with his lovely neck tattoo. Jamie Brandon, Kingsley, Halkett, Popescu. Just keep the back four the same, and you can have Berra come on at some point. Then, we'll just go 4-2-3-1 again. Then play Lee and is Irving away with the 21s?
That's a good point. I'll go and search. You
well, let's
keep
just. I'm going to go with that he isn't and play Irving. So Lee and Irving. Then a 3 of White, Freer. God, who can play in the 10? No one. Can McGill play in a 10? Is he attacking? He looked good.
Now would be the time to see if he can.
Fuck it, it's East Fife. McGill, you can play in a 10. And then White and up front.
Well, Andy Irving is coincidentally not away with the under-21s.
Right,
so
Irving
could you chuck him at 10?
No, he's playing sitting with Lee.
And who have you got as 10 then?
McGill.
Oof.
Scott McGill is playing as my number 10. Hey, against Cowdenbeath, he hit the post, I think. Did he? He had a shot.
I don't remember that.
I remember him having a shot. So therefore, that's more than Andy Irving did.
To be honest, most of the games go over my head because I'm too busy trying to.
I was about to say, is that really odd, Jordan? That you do you come home and your dad asks you, "Oh, how was it?" And you go, "Oh, yeah. I don't have a clue," but we won. Great.
Yeah, no, every time, honestly, like I don't remember half of any game I filmed just now. It's a nightmare. I have to go back and obviously when I'm going through the footage, I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. It's a
Can I just say, by the way, I just said that McGill did more than Irving. That's because McGill replaced Irving as Irving was away in the 21. So no wonder Irving didn't do much. But I thought McGill was good. So therefore, chuck him in a 10 behind Craig White and will carry us through it. Cristiano Ronaldo has got us. It's fine.
Welcome to the Perth to Paisley Podcast in its amateur hour.
Right. What's your team then?
I'd go for
Popescu up front.
I'd go for Stewart in goal. I would go Brandon and Kingsley full back. I would be inclined to maybe give Popescu a wee rest. Well, him and or Halkett, but I'll go Berra and Halkett to start. Midfield trio. Probably will. No, I'll tell you who I'll play. I'll play Loic Damour in from the cold.
He's in France.
Is he actually?
Yeah, he's in France.
So he's just robbing a living from us.
He's getting treatment because I saw Nielsen speaking about it. He's getting treatment in France.
Okay.
I've not just got a tab on Loic Damour, and I'm just really invested.
How does anybody know what Loic Damour's up to?
I forgot he was still a player. I'm not going to lie until I saw Robbie Nielsen give an injury report and Loic Damour was on the list, and I went, "Oh yeah, somehow he's still here."
Your Damour radar is going off.
Yes, exactly.
No, so we'll go.
Wait. The fact that you would play him, though, is just sickening. You want to ruin this lovely season by bringing him back into the fold. What are you doing?
Mate, it's East Fife.
I'd rather play with 10 men.
He's robbing a living. I'm sorry. I, as a paying customer for this club, if he's nicking my money to essentially be,
yes, it's actually written in his contract as the Adam Kennedy season ticket. It's like that's what it is.
No, but you know what I mean. It frustrates me. Like I've been thinking about this for a while. Like this boy Ross Stewart that must just be the best gig ever, being a second choice keeper, because you do nothing. Look at Bobby Zlamal. Bobby Zlamal would have signed a contract, and now all of a sudden he's out in the wilderness.
Wait, how have you suddenly went for getting annoyed at Damour? He praised in Ross Stewart. What happened there?
It's the same thing. They steal a living.
No, it's not. Ross Stewart's on loan.
And he's not getting in the Livingston team, and he's not getting in our team.
Yes, he's getting in your team. You've picked him.
Yeah, only because Gordon's away.
But you can't go, he's not getting in my team after you've named him in your team.
I'd also like to take this moment to defend Bobby Zlamal. As I filmed Bobby in an Edinburgh City game against Hearts when it was like a closed door one, and he was absolutely class. He came on after 60 minutes. He did immediately give away a penalty, but he saved it. And then he made
him doing like his cartwheels and that.
Oh yeah, but I think it was the Motherwell game before lockdown. That was my first game I done, and I got him doing his cartwheels and stuff. And that was a game he made that save. It was.
I was about to say, because those cartwheels came in clutch with the save.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it? Was that not your footage that caught that save?
Yeah, it was. I was quite lucky when I was sat for that one. It was class.
Right, so somehow we've ended up talking about Bobby Zlamal and we've shacked away from man
just talk about Bobby Zlamal for the rest of the podcast, mate. I'll be happy. I love that man.
He is great. I prefer him to Luke Demure, that's for sure.
Right, well, obviously now I've learned.
I'd rather play Bobby Zlamal in midfield than Luke Demure.
I reckon he'd do a job by this.
Same.
Right, okay, I'll go. Irving and Lee sitting, Bobby Zlamal at number 10, in behind Craig Whiten.
He's probably a better 10 than McGill, to be honest.
I'd actually pay money to see Bobby Zlamal play him with it.
Who did you have on the flanks, Daniel?
No one. I was playing a 4-2. Oh well, kinda. Yeah, I had White and Freer as the left and right of a three.
And who'd you have up front?
Whiten. Were you listening?
I thought you just said you had Whiten and Freer on the flanks. Oh,
no,
White and Freer.
White
oh, sorry.
and
Sorry. Yeah.
You asked me to name my team, and you literally questioned everybody apart from the back four.
The back four picks itself.
You picked a different one to me.
What about you and Henderson?
No.
Oh no, Daniel doesn't like you.
I don't. In fairness to him,
that's not a bad shout, Jordan. Actually,
he was all right when he came on. I mean, he missed a really good opportunity, but he did his job at the semi-final. But he's not a football player.
Wow. I think he'll be on the bench. And he'll probably come on at some point.
He will. He'll score the winner.
Yeah, I hope he does. To be fair,
just to spite me.
He seems to be one of the only few kids that's kind of survived this, like loan period, because everybody seems to either be going out on loan or, in Tony McDonald's case, kind of leaving the club. Why do you think that is?
He must have something. He must be blackmailing somebody.
I think he does. Like there was a spell last season where he looked really good, and then he just kind of fell away again. But
I think Lewis Moore looked really good.
Mm-hmm. Lewis Moore's another shout, actually. I forgot.
He was on the bench. He was on the bench on Saturday, wasn't he? Or another game? He was on the bench recently.
Oh, so maybe Moore and Henderson might take up my wings.
Are you dropping Eddie White?
Do you know what? I'll give Kingsley a rest, and I'll put White to left back, and then play Henderson and Moore.
We've just had the conversation about how we don't want Eddie White to ever defend again, and your reaction to that is drop our best player and put Eddie White in his position.
First of all, it's East Fife.
Right.
Secondly, we're already through, so what does it matter? And thirdly,
I want to win every game.
So do I, but let's be frank. I think the three of us could probably play up front and we'd beat East Fife.
The three of us and Bobby and 10 would get a 3-0 win.
I mean, we just scraped it against Cowdenbeath, so I wouldn't.
Exactly.
Right, go on then, Jordan. Give us your team.
So Luke Demure in goals. To be honest, I think both of you are in with a shout. I feel like you and Henderson might start. I don't know if he'd want to play either. I mean, Whiten and Boyce are looking like they're going to be big players this season. I don't know if he'd want to risk both of them, but I feel like he's probably going to start one and then bring on you and Henderson.
Well, Boyce is away.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, would you want to risk Whiten as well, or?
That's what I mean. Yeah, that pitch especially throws so much into contention, because one bad turn or a fall, and you're fucked.
Yeah, no, that's a toughie.
It's a toughie, but give us your team. What are you going?
You're not getting away with any. We've just been slaughtering each other for our teams. You need to put yourself on the chopping block and throw up a team line.
Exactly.
Right.
It can't be any worse than mine after Daniel has questioned every single inclusion.
I mean, you didn't even ken half of mine, so.
Right,
I'm nervous about hosting. I'm scared.
I feel like I want to see Berra start, so it's going to be Stuart, Brandon. Do I go Halkett, Berra? I don't know if I want to see that again, but we'll go it.
Better fit.
Aidy White on the left.
Oh, how'd you like them apples, McIver?
We're going to get beat.
I'm sorry, Daniel. It has to be.
No.
And then we'll go the Portobello Piolo.
What a player.
I don't know what formation we're going here, but we're just going to go with it. Jamie Walker and I don't know. See, Naismith scares me, so I don't want to start Naismith. What are options in midfield? I can't even remember.
Ollie Lee,
Peter Haring.
Halliday,
Ollie Lee. Andy Halliday will start, yeah.
McGill.
Andy Halliday, Scott McGill, and then Craig Whiten and Ewan Henderson. And I don't know where they're playing.
I was
but
about
they're
to
just
say
playing
this
on the
is
pitch.
this is like a 4-0-4.
Well, mate, that's my kind of tactic, so you can.
4-0-4-2.
Yeah. That's what we're going for.
I just heard a succession of names. I've lost track of formation. Also,
They're literally just playing in a straight line.
That's fine. That should be East Fife. They're 7th in League One.
Oh, dearie me.
Why do I know that?
That's worrying.
Why
I feel like
do
Whiten's
I
done
know?
alright. Whiten's done alright, like out wide, so I'd be tempted to play him out wide.
Who would you have up front?
Stick Ewan Henderson in there, mate. Give him a chance.
Fuck it. It's East
Yeah.
Fife.
Yeah.
I was about to say, you've changed your tune.
That should be the attitude at the same time. At the same time, I want us to win, but it also should just be Robbie standing up. All his team talk should be is, lads, it's East Fife.
I'm actually looking at the Hearts lineup from the Inverness game on live score, and they've got Popescu and Ollie Lee up top.
I saw that. And both centre backs on the score sheet.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So Liam Boyce is Stephen Naismith at centre half.
Oh my god.
Scored.
No wonder my lineup was all over the place trying to refer to that.
Your live score inspo.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Mind you, I mean we did lose to them on penalties last time up there. So
This is different though.
Well, I was going to try and kind of compare it to Robbie's first tenure, because I think we discussed it on the pod a couple of weeks back, actually, Daniel, when he sort of played kids away at Livingston in the Challenge Cup. So, I mean, we're practically through. It'd be nice to win, but I'm not going to throw my toys at the pram if it's a second string side, I don't think.
Robbie said he's been trying to bring in this new winning mentality in both training and games, and he said that whilst it is just East Fife and we've already basically won the group and stuff like that, he's like, we've made it 7 wins from 7, he wants to make it 8 wins from 8, and I think realistically any lineup we put out should be able to beat East Fife.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd go along with that. What were you going to say, Jordan? Sorry.
I mean, you were talking about Loic Damour, so I mean, if you think any lineup can beat East Fife, then
That's fair.
be careful what you say.
That's very fair. You'll get on the plane back, feel like, I've got one leg, I'll still play in the middle, lads. What is his
Come out of
injury?
nowhere.
Does anybody know how he's hurt?
Apart from his heart.
Jesus.
Fucking hell, what a way to end this segment.
Well, I mean,
recovering from a broken heart.
I was going to end the whole thing, but obviously we were talking about kind of tonight on the day of recording sees the first episode of the BBC documentary. So this is our story, Inside Hearts is what it's called. I tried doing some research to wonder kind of what we're letting ourselves in for in the first episode, and I had a little look on the Sky TV guide, and I went to the little, kind of blurb bit where it tells you what goes on essentially, and it just said, a bad start to the season means the pressure is on Anne Budge to sack her manager. Contains some strong language.
The BBC literally detailed exactly what's in it. episode 1.
How are the pair of you feeling about sitting down to watch it? Daniel, you're somewhat excited, are you not?
I'm excited, but I'm terrified that I'm in it. I'm really scared that I'm in it. I don't mean as like an interview segment. I've not kept this quiet. It's not that, oh, by the way, lads, it's me, Craig Levine, and Stephen Naismith as the 3 focal points of this documentary. I just mean, in the background, there's a slight chance I'm in it, and I'm going to be embarrassed by it. But I'm excited for there's no reason why I should be excited. It's shocking. It's going to provide everybody else in Scottish football a massive laugh. But it is going to be a laugh.
Jordan, what are you going to make of it? Because are you getting ready to tune in about 9:15? That's when Daniel said that his segment was on.
Yeah, no, I'm buzzing for it. I think it'll be absolutely tragic, but I think it's gonna be really interesting for a lot of people to see like kind of the behind the scenes stuff with the club. But I mean, at the same time, could you pick a worse time to do a documentary on our club? Like,
no, but it's true Heart of Midlothian fashion, isn't it?
Is it going to be worse than the first season of Sunderland Till I Die? That's kind of the bar where a Premier League side went into the Championship and then got relegated into League One. Do we think it's going to be as bad as that?
That's a good question, to be fair. I'd probably consider it more to season 2, where they're kind of building up an excitement and then ultimately it just proves to be a massive failure. Would you not say?
Who's going to be that David Brent-esque marketing guy?
Oh my god. Oh no.
That's Austin McPhee, innit?
Probably.
I forgot Austin McPhee was managing.
I think, like, I forgot he existed.
Well, I just see him in the trailer shouting, "Go on, big man!"
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So listen, I mean, it's bound to be simultaneously tragic and interesting. That's what we also kind of like to dub the podcast. So thank you very much for coming on, Jordan. Where can the Jambos find you and boost your social channels?
So I'm just Jallan Films on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So it's pretty easy.
Wonderful. And Daniel, yourself?
I am at McIver the Mark on Twitter, and that's it. That's the main place.
Excellent. I am.
That was smooth as fuck, by the way.
It was smooth until you interrupted Adam.
I know I did. Sorry, Adam. Go again.
No, it's fine. Nobody needs to follow me on Twitter anyway.
No, say it. Say your handle again.
I'm at Adam T. Kendall on all the socials, not just Twitter. We are collectively at Perth to Paisley. You can get us on all the socials now. And obviously feel free to email us perthpaisley@gmail.com. I can imagine that Hearts will make it 4 out of 4 in the League Cup. And then fingers crossed that... I mean, the documentary will be embarrassing, but it'll be a good laugh, folks. It's fine. And we can discuss it the next time. So catch us all later.